Alright, it is coffee time. You know what to expect. But I got something a little bit different. That thing, I'm gonna move this drawer. I'm gonna move it over there. I hit it all the time. Coffee chat. So I got this mocha stuff. Really looking forward to letting this cool down. And when I was moving, it was like the cup is so warm. It's uncomfortable in my fingers. It's cooled off a little now. And I've seen people who like, and then they try to slug the coffee down. It's like, what were you thinking? If it's burning your hand in the cup, what do you think it's going to do to your mouth? And so, there's your words of wisdom, coffee drinkers. Soft mouth or sensitive mouth coffee drinkers. I'm going to start off with a little clip that has been around for a while. I just haven't had a place where I felt like it fit, and so I've told the student who did this I would use it, and I also wanted to make sense out of, I just wanted to show you a clip. Here we go, look at this.
But then you
Alright, so here's the reason that this happened. The student brought her ukulele to class. She was sitting there, and I go, "Oh, ukulele!" Ooh, and I picked it up, and I play guitar a little bit, so I messed around with it. And she goes, "Can I play it?" And I was like, "Well, you have to do this one thing before you can play it in science class. What effect do the frets have? And why does it change?" So she goes, "Well, the more frets you go up, the higher the pitch." And I said, "Why is that?" And someone else at the table said, "Because the string gets shorter, and the shorter the string, the higher the pitch." And I was like, "Exactly." Now, the connection between music and science is very remarkable. The propagation of sound as a wave, and the reflective qualities of the room, all that acoustic stuff, that's physics. The wavelength and the frequency, so you change the wavelength of a horn by changing the length of the pipe, different ways of doing that. The resonant points on a flute, where you cover the certain holes, causes the wave to resonate differently, gives different. It's all the physics of mechanical waves played out in a very artistic way. So I always try to encourage students, if they have a musical instrument, understand a little bit about the physics of what's going on there. And now, bringing this up in a ostensibly motivational, inspirational video, here's the thing. When you have that thing that you connect with, it will lead you into deeper levels of learning and understanding. If you have some reason to know something, if there is a application to it, and this is one of the reasons our school program emphasizes connecting it back to the real world. Now, there are some things that are very difficult to connect back to the real world in a meaningful way, like, you know, the definition of a solution or the definition of a mixture. These things are so fundamental that the real world connection is, yeah, I use a solution to clean my windshield with. Wow, that was a deep, meaningful connection. On the other hand, I had a student in my computer class who has a game he plays, and he wants to be able to write these add-on pieces that go with his game. Suddenly, this guy is like deep into another language, not one I'm teaching, but he is like self-teaching himself. How else can you self-teach yourself? He is teaching himself C++ so that he can write these add-ons to the game that he wants to play. There was another guy who plays the fantasy role-playing games. This guy, he was discussing metallurgy, different kinds of steel, carbon steel, and then there's these alloys that are not alloys of carbon, and he was going through all these metal properties that he had come to know about as fodder for his game understanding, because, you know, you want to get the best sword that you can get, and now springboard that into my role at SILIAR. I've got this document that I've been working on where I keep up with all the details of the world, and one of the sections I'm planning on adding over the next 12 months is sort of a finalizing what are the different types of metal in the world. You know, when they call it this thing, what would that be on our periodic table? So that's kind of like bringing this all the way back around. If you are deeply interested in something, you will dig into it and you will learn about it. And that is the challenge in the workplace. There are things that you have to do because your boss tells you to do them. And I would argue that if you understood how that fit into the business operation, you would be more likely to push through and do it. When I was at McDonald's years and years ago, I was part-time shift manager, and there were things I had to do on every shift, and I had to do them very periodically. And so I fabricated yesterday. I went to get my shirts from the cleaners, so I wouldn't have to wear the same thing. I only have a limited number of shirts, so I have to. I don't even know why you would not want to know that. Everyone has a limited number of shirts unless they make, I don't know. So I was thinking the cleaners is run very efficiently, and the lady that works there, someone I know from the community, and when I got there, she was doing something that would make the environment of the dry cleaning place, the establishment, better. And I thought, well, then what's probably happened is the owner/manager has shared with her his vision for how that store is to operate, and she has embraced that because a profitable store means more opportunities for the employees, a profitable business. So by him sharing his vision and enlisting her into that vision, this sounds a lot like a video I made a few weeks ago. As a leader, as a store owner, by connecting the trivial things that are necessary in that environment to the big picture has compelled her into volunteering to and not being forced to do those things. So I imagine a situation if I were a shift manager at McDonald's, where reminding people to sanitize their hands after doing certain things would probably be on my list of things that I would be evaluated for, checked off on. So if I explain that to the workers, like washing your hands after you take out the trash is a very important health consideration, and it's part of my evaluation, and I am going to remind you to do this periodically because it's part of making this place a better place. Or Wendy's or Burger King or wherever, I imagined a shift manager might work in the 21st century. So that's a long way from the ukulele. So returning back to that founding point is when you can connect a thing to something that is interesting to you, or if you're the leader, connect it to something that's interesting to the person who's you're leading. That connection serves as the motivation to get things done. All right, I'm gonna bring this segment to a close. There's not a whole lot more in this coffee chat. We had a really good talk, I think. Come back and I'm gonna tell you a couple struggles I'm having, and then we'll get out of here. But I gotta drink some coffee, check some emails, get ready for today. Okay, all right, thanks for sticking around for this clip episode. Here, two things, let me think. There were two things when I sat down I was gonna tell you about. Oh yeah, two things I wanna tell you about. One, so there is something between Wix as a web host and AdSense as a, whatever AdSense is, ad provider website. So I had it set up on the free Wix site, and I had my Google AdSense working. And if someone from Wix is watching this, which I highly doubt, but if you are, so it worked until I assigned my real domain name to the site, which Wix calls that connecting your domain name. So I connected my domain name and the ads went away. And the reason Google says that they won't show the ads is there's no content there. But if I disconnect my domain name, the ads work, and they did work. Now I disconnected it, and then also I deleted the old connection from Google AdSense, so it probably won't work anymore. But it worked before, and there's more content now than there was before, but now it doesn't work. And I've been back and forth with the Wix support people, and they keep saying, "Here, read this help page," which I read all the help pages before I started trying to communicate with a live person, because they make it very, very difficult. Now, I told my web design class that the things that you can do on Wix instantaneously are hundreds of hours, thousands maybe of hours of computer programming code to get to that place. So on one hand, I highly endorse Wix, and the next website I build, because I've spent time over the last few years learning how to do the Wix interface. I'm kind of a big fan on that aspect. But with regards to Google AdSense, I got nothing. I don't know. That's it. I don't know how. If any of you who are watching, first of all, if you work for Wix, send somebody an email. If you have used Wix and gotten AdSense to work, so if you want to see what I'm talking about, there's a lot of content there. It's www.SILIAR.com, and there's a link here. No, you can't do that, and I'm not allowed to put links down in the description. There's a link. Go check it out. There's a lot of content there. If you have put AdSense on your Wix site, let me know how you did it, because I must be doing something wrong. The other thing is, I want to talk about the podcasts, and I guess more directly. One of the things I have to do today is to get tomorrow's podcast / SNAPlife episode done. And the only thing I have left to do is finish up my background music, my accompaniment music. So over the course of January and February, I've done a lot of GarageBand tracks. I'm wondering, I might do like a tutorial for GarageBand. That's like, so you're afraid of GarageBand, you shouldn't be. And I'm just really just composing songs by arranging the loops in the GarageBand loop library. And so my struggle is some of the loops that are really awesome are very distinctive, and so it's like, okay, I used the really awesome loop already, so now I can't use that one anymore. So there's a bazillion loops. I'm sure I haven't exhausted the creative possibilities. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about GarageBand, and not like I'm a GarageBand expert, but what I would be able to do is say, hey, if you're afraid of using GarageBand, here's the way you can do this. Here's a quick start guide to GarageBand for the absolute beginner. So I might do that. But so I did like a motif for the January. All the tracks from January, I put them into an album. Made an album called Into the Pod, because it's like it's a podcast. And then my February album is called Open the Pod, which is double entendre for the 2001: A Space Odyssey. Open the pod bay doors. Hal, open the pod bay doors. I don't remember the exact quote. A lot of people are listening to the music. That's the weird thing, or that is a weird thing. There's a lot of weird things, but like probably more people listen to the background music than actually listen to the podcasts, which I think probably means something. Wonder what that could mean. Like, yeah, your GarageBand loops are more interesting than your spoken message. Story of my life right there. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This was a pretty simple little piece. I talked a lot. I said a lot of things. The main teaching moment, the coffee chat moment was, first of all, mocha. Mocha is good. So the meaningful moment besides mocha was connection. That connection between what you're doing and why you're doing it, or the connection between what you're doing and something that you're interested in already. That connection breeds motivation. And I think if we can motivate people by letting them know the real world tie-in, it is challenging. I got off track. I was trying to close the video, and I will now. Thanks for watching. Please leave me a like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Please leave me a comment. I love the comments, and they are so helpful. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do that. I'm on the growing curve of growing subscribers, and also let me know what you'd like to hear me talk about. Let me know what you would like to see videos made. Would you like to see a GarageBand tutorial? I've been making a lot more photography tutorials. I got another one planned. I've actually got a photo that I'm gonna try to do it's a great pose, but it's a little bit, the exposure is a little bit wonky, so I've got an application I'm gonna try to demonstrate that. So I got some photography videos. I need to stop talking now. Lots of things coming up, plus the student videos are awesome. The kids are just having a blast. I got an idea for a little more serious student video. I have two ideas for that. One, I don't know if the kids will go for it. One, I think I'm gonna sort of make them do it, maybe just like one-on-one, and then piece them all together. Lots of things. Coffee chat is over. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again for watching.